Hello, this is Lauren Sauerbeck, Director of Sales and Field Development for NutriMetrix. Thank you for reviewing NutriMetrix Custom Health Solutions. The first thing I want to point out about NutriMetrix is the fact that our solutions are customized for the unique needs of every single practitioner that we support and their patients. Everything that we do is tailored to help support the unique needs of the practice and practitioner, because we do know that they all are different and everybody does need a unique solution. Okay, so looking forward here at NutriMetrix Custom Health Solutions, we deliver wellness solutions for both patients and practice, and with that we recognize several aspects of what we do to support our health professionals. Our solutions are designed exclusively for health professionals. We are servicing thousands of health professionals across the United States and getting ready for global expansion. We have a wide variety of products and services that are designed to support the unique needs of the patients and the practice, while also generating revenue, which of course is needed in this economy and time with all the changes that have been happening in our healthcare industry. Now, if we look at what's going on in our healthcare economy, cost of business is always going up, but also insurance reimbursements are going down. Both of these things, together with laws and legislation that are having great impacts on the healthcare system right now, all of these things translate to reduced profitability, and health professionals have been challenged to make changes. When we look at what's going on inside the news, we can see articles on CNN Money, doctors going broke, having a difficult time making payroll. If we look at struggling to make ends meet, what we see in this article is that the reimbursements that health professionals get for the care that they're giving is not covering the cost of delivering the care that they are mandated to give. We take another step forward and look and see at the end of the day, profitability is shrinking. And with that happening, it's time for change, and changes are imminent in all aspects of healthcare. When we see risk of health professionals going out of business, this is happening again and again, and we see more and more often practices getting acquired by larger groups. And all of this points to the fact that times are changing and we have to change with it. One of the most difficult expenses to cover in employment or in operation of any business is payroll. This chart right here shows the increasing number of health professionals who have had to take out loans to cover payroll. And you see it's obviously not getting smaller because it's getting more difficult to keep up. In addition to that, the payroll, a lot of times health professionals have to lay off key staff members, and with less staff members, those existing ones are going to be much busier and a little bit more stressed, and it gets harder for healthcare facilities to do anything different because they are so incredibly busy. So what are practices these days doing to overcome these obstacles? Well, the first one we see is seeing more patients. As they're seeing more patients, that's good. It's going to bring more revenue into a practice, and of course we acknowledge that a practice is a business and it must remain profitable to stay open to take care of those patients. So seeing more is a logical step. But those very busy staff members are going to be even busier because they're working harder to move more patients through in the same amount of time. We see some offices open additional hours, and that works too, or open additional locations, but all of these things mean more time and more overhead and more expense. What we need to do is not add expense, but instead add profitability. So what we propose is really response-based marketing, as in listen to what the patients are asking. Are the patients asking for help losing weight? Are they asking which multivitamin, which calcium or omega do you recommend? Which D3 do you recommend? Or what options do I have? I myself said to my health professional, you know, I don't want to take meds, I want to try it myself first. The problem though with the average patient is that they don't know what to do, and that's why they're asking their health professional for advice. And if you think about this, which multivitamin do you recommend? Let's stop for a moment and think, why is the patient asking that question? They're asking for a multivitamin recommendation because they want one that their health professional trusts. Second, they know they're not eating well, so they're asking for one. And third, they're concerned about their health and want to be preventative as possible, so they know they at least need something because they're not eating well. So if we recognize that they're having concerns to cause them to ask this question, we recognize why it's so important to get an answer from someone they trust. And that's a big part of what we do. If we look at what the patients are already doing, We look and see $22 billion spent a year on natural health alternatives, but obviously they're going to the stores and picking stuff out, and without the proper education to understand formulations and necessities and even how these things might work with pharmaceuticals, it's a really big question. What are they buying and who's giving them the advice? You know, we see many of these stores and they have staff members giving health advice in the aisles of these stores, and obviously they don't have the benefit of the patient's records and health history. So it's another reason why, again, the patients are looking for advice from their health professional. They want to be sure that what they're taking is going to do what they want it to do. If we look at what we find in the stores, there's no guarantee on quality there. They're obviously made to generate revenue for those stores who have a lot of brick and mortar overhead. With that, we find in these formulas artificial chemicals, dyes, disintegrating agents, hydrogenated fat, all kinds of fillers and such that are going to inhibit the body's ability to absorb it, and some of these obviously aren't going to be healthful ingredients. If we take a look at some of the most popular store supplements that we find out there, we can look at Centrum, one of the United States' leading brands, and also in many other countries, and we see hydrogenated fat, titanium dioxide, talc, and a bunch of colors and dyes. Now, if you research online on some of the published medical journal websites, you'll start seeing a lot of science on some of these dyes that are showing some very bad health conditions associated to them. So we really don't need to be consuming things like this, or certainly not hydrogenated fat. Looking again further at Flintstones, another well-trusted brand. If we look at the label, hydrogenated fat in aspartame and more colors and dyes, no parent or health professional would recommend hydrogenated fat or aspartame to a child. But again, these companies, well, really they're able to bank on the fact that the average consumer does not know how to read these labels. The average consumer has not been educated in comprehensive formulas and how to choose one, which is again why they ask the health professional, which one do you recommend? And we know that we're at a state of deficiency in our country, so it's a matter of coming up with the answers that are going to help those patients get the results that they really want for their wellness. And all of that together, answering the financial concerns and the wellness needs of the patients, is what we do. And NutriMetrix really is in the right place at the right time, because we are answering both of those needs, being wellness for both the patients and the practice. There's many aspects of what we do, but one of the most important ones to me is our mission of what we're accomplishing. As we get more educated in wellness and nutrition, you can't help but pay it forward and help others. You know, we learn, we improve our health, we feel better, we have a better quality of life, we feel good. Such a big difference for what's going on. Instead of sick care, we're able to really migrate towards wellness care. And our mission with NutriMetrix really is to expand the vision of wellness and education into the population to really help empower people to make better choices and better changes to turn around the condition that we have in this country. We're at the top of the world in heart disease, obesity, diabetes, and osteoporosis, and it's time to make changes. And through education and science-based solutions, we can do that one health professional and one patient at a time. And with any company you work with, it really is important to know that you're working with a company that's stable and solid. Since we started NutriMetrix in 2004, we have gone nowhere but up. And that's good because we have the funding and the revenues to ensure growth and support and good service for our health professionals. But what's more important here also is the patient results. Our products are really good. They're designed synergistically and comprehensively to deliver the results that they are intended to give, so that the patients experience the results and the health professionals expect the results that we get. And these numbers that you see here really are a measurement of patient results. The patients do get the results that they can experience. With that, our health professionals are successful. Because of that, our consultants are successful, and so are we. Adding all that together, we can understand that they are working and delivering those patient results because of the quality and how the formulations are done. Everything we do is education and science-based with exceptional quality controls to ensure that everything is exactly as it should be. We have independent auditing and on-site labs, and we test every single pallet to make sure that what's on the label is in the bottle and that they are done exactly as they should. If a manufacturer changes one of our formulations, we know it because we test it. We bring forward the latest market-driven products. We monitor the science and the news and the studies that are coming out. We design our formulations to match the latest science, and whenever there's something new that's proven results, we bring it forward and bring it to our health professionals so that our health professionals are always on top of the latest and greatest of what's there. Again, with everything being comprehensive and synergistic, our solutions are easy to use and simple because they are comprehensive, and they're all formulated by experts in their industry who really pull together the pieces of what needs to happen for a formula to be successful. The quality in our products goes all the way down to the last ingredient. We have all certificates of analysis, GMP compliance, and more because we exceed requirements for the United States and Canada as well, and many other countries. We have everything in order to ensure the quality for our health professionals, the safety for the patients, and much more. Now, talking about what we do and what we deliver and what our health professionals are able to provide their patients, there are several factors that really set us apart from other companies that are different in what we do, and that's what I'm going to focus my attention on in this introduction. The first thing to focus on is isotonic capable nutrition. Now, many of our formulas are delivered in a powder state where they're mixed with water. So 1 cap of powder mixed with 2 ounces of water with the cup provided on top delivers an isotonic dose. That meaning, of course, same pressure as your body fluids, which means we're going to get the absorption and the usage into the body. The fact that there's no binders and fillers is going to make a very big difference because we're going to get this solution into the body within minutes compared to possibly hours if those pill formulas break down. So add to the fact that there's comprehensive and synergistic ingredients, add on isotonic capable that you can drink, and yes, it tastes very good. Patients get results that they can feel and experience. Health professionals get results that they can measure, and it works. Now, another point here, for example, this formula right here is our calcium formula. Just as an example, patients go to the store and they pick out a calcium from the shelf, and you're going to see a whole bunch of calcium formulas in the health food stores all lined up. The typical person is going to go about halfway down the row to the middle and then maybe to the right a little bit because they're organized from least expensive to most expensive, and then they'll pick a good-looking label. By doing that, okay, that must be a good formula. The ones on the left are too cheap, the ones on the right are too expensive. Well, if we look at that and you pull off those calcium formulas, for example, the vast majority of them are 500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and nothing else. Some of them have a couple of other ingredients, but to look at what they need to go with their calcium, those companies, again, can bank on the fact that the consumer doesn't know what to look for. This calcium has 5 types of calcium. It also has magnesium, D3, B2, boron, and other things that are absolutely necessary to form bone and to do all the work that calcium does in our body, which is much more than bones, obviously. Because it's comprehensive, it's all in there and it gets measurable results. We also have, for example, an activated or methylated B complex. For those who have genetic variations with difficulty absorbing B vitamins, it's absolutely essential because it's delivered in the activated form. Add to that digestive enzymes and probiotics that can get down into the gut, and of course our #1 product, which is OPC3, which is a really high-powered antioxidant formula. When you add the fact that they're isotonic in delivery, we've got results that can be measured and experienced, and that's what's going to help build those results for the patients and the practice. Next, to take it a step further, we're able to customize formulas for the practice or for each patient. By using our custom cocktail system and solution, we're able to take multiple products and design them into a custom formula. So say, for example, we have Dr. Smith. In Dr. Smith's practice, they see a lot of patients who have blood sugar challenges. Well, we can use this to design the Smith blood sugar support formula, and everything Dr. Smith wants can be in this one formula to make sure that patients have what they need in a very easy way. And then looking further with any of these other formulas, we can also design one for each patient so that perhaps Mrs. Jones, a patient, can find the formula that has her name on it. And that's obviously one thing we're never going to find in a store, is a formula with somebody's name on it. And with this, the health professional is able to support the practice as a whole to make sure the primary need of the patient base is covered, or give extra service to individual patients. And one of the side effects that we see with this formula is new patient generation. Because patients are so pleased with having such care in their wellness support, they tell other people and new patients come. And of course the results speak. Now, taking this yet another step further, we have our GeneSNP DNA analysis, which is one of my very favorite programs. The GeneSNP tests for genetically inherited nutritional deficiencies that impact one's health. Now, we actually have a new test that we're loading up that has 48 variations, 22 of which help address weight loss challenges. The end result of the analysis is that we have a lifestyle recommendation of how to change dietary habits, fitness recommendations, supplement recommendations for what nutrients are needed specifically for each individual, and all the results with the report with all the variations to help the health professional analyze and support those patient needs. I am personally very passionate about this program because it takes the guesswork out of what people need. And for me, I personally don't want to wait for problems to happen to do something about it. I want to be as optimal as I can. And for those patients that want to optimize their well-being or take the guesswork out of their nutritional needs, the GeneSNP is a phenomenal program. Next topic is our TLS weight loss solution. Now, the TLS weight loss solution is a very, very powerful system. Now, as we know, we have the most overweight country in the world, and the fact that people don't know what to do is really the problem. Education and science has to be behind a solution. So what we do with this is we have our 90-day guide and journal, which actually teaches, educates, and holds accountability for the individuals following the system. We also recognize that one size does not fit all and that people's weight loss needs really are unique. We also have, in addition to the education and accountability, we have 4 different supplement formulas that help target unique challenges for different patients. You know, there's the ACTS, which supports adrenal, cortisol, thyroid, and stress. We have our core formula, which supports healthy leptin levels and fat absorption inhibitor, carb absorption inhibitor, and fat conversion inhibitor. And also we have our CLA, conjugated linoleic acid. The tonillin ingredient inside results in a 9% reduction in body fat over a year with just that in studies. And of course we have our thermochrome, which is, supports thermogenesis in fat burning. These different targets really help customize the unique needs of each patient and really help them get the results that they need. Add that to the GeneSNP DNA analysis and you've got a really customized solution to help target those challenges once and for all. And the beautiful thing about this solution is that it's not a diet, there's no calorie restriction, it's about eating right, but empowering people with the science of their own bodies and knowing how to take care of themselves and make the choices that they need. And with the education to do so, the results stick. Now, another aspect of what we do is provide really good service. We have NutriMetrix consultants who are very committed to delivering service for our health professionals. Our consultants are trained and educated in implementing customized wellness solutions for health professionals. Typically, we'll meet with the health professional for even 15 minutes to gather the information about their practice and their goals and their vision that they have for their practice. And then we take that and design a customized solution for them to evaluate and see if we have a fit. Then after that, we go through it and help teach, train, and support the staff in a successful implementation of a wellness program. And the services of a consultant are free. They're designed for success and to give good service for our health professionals. Now, consultants are really good also at helping implement and work with the staff because they may not have added wellness to a practice before. So even simple things that we do, like asking questions of the patients, are you happy with your current health? You know, to create that conversation with the patient. If you keep doing what you're doing, will your health improve? Or one of my favorite questions, if you could improve one thing about your health, what would it be? By asking that to a patient, if you could improve just one thing, the patient's going to think about the one thing that they want the most, and it's kind of like making a wish. And when the health professional is able to answer that one thing that means the most to the patient, we're helping build loyalty and retention and belief and help that health professional take steps forward on their wellness goals and their wellness plan. And then, of course, we have our website, a comprehensive web solution that patients can go online for access to the weight loss solution, for a skincare analysis, a nutrition analysis through the NutriPhysical. All of the products and solutions that we have are online with full labels, science, ingredients, details, and education to help the patients. Also, there's blogs and news coming out to help keep people up to speed on the latest and greatest of nutrition news, and all of our health professionals get this included with their account. And because of this, they have an online presence. And if the patient comes online to order a product refill, well, our warehouses automatically process and ship everything, and our health professionals are hands-free. Each health professional's website has their own private link, their own private address, and all revenues passing through the site go to the health professional. It's all systemized and automatic and designed, again, for success. We also have support materials for inside the office, brochures and patient product education handouts, and much more. All these things are, again, designed to educate the patients and to support their wellness and their education to help them get the results that they're looking for. So how does all this work? Well, in short, again, the NutriMetrix consultant assesses a practice, comes up with a customized solution. We submit that with a profit projection to help the health professional analyze and see if we have a fit. Now, I want to acknowledge that any program implemented in a practice, the first need is patient care, of course, but we all must acknowledge that anything must generate revenue to be worth its time. It certainly can't run at an expense. So with that, we present the profit projections when we implement so that we can help our health professionals there. Now, to give you an example of this, let's say that a practice has 5,000 patients, and say we run a survey and 65% want wellness solutions, so our goal is just 10% for the first year. Now, we've run surveys, thousands of surveys across the United States, and without fail, 75 to 85% of the patients are already taking something, and they want the advice from their health professional. So even if it's only 65%, is 10% a good goal for the first year? Yeah, that should be a pretty easy one. So if we take 5,000 times 10%, that's 500 patients on a wellness protocol. That means that they're on a monthly maintenance regimen for wellness. And to do that, breaking it down further, that simply means adding 2.5 patients per day to a wellness plan and helping those patients get to their goals. So if we take a solution, we talked about the custom formulas that we can develop. Say that we designed for Dr. Smith a basic health formula with a multivitamin, the activated B complex, and the calcium that I described earlier. Those three in one custom formula, well, 500 patients ordering monthly would result in $6,000 of profit. Okay, it's a start. You know, that's one thing. But say that Dr. Smith also designed an advanced formula, and the advanced formula also has the multi-B and calcium, but we add D3 because so many people are deficient, and we add the OPC. Well, 500 patients maintaining on that formula would bring about $14,000 a month in net profit. Okay, so you're going to just look at my main screen then. It's not in presentation mode, so you won't see my pretty animations, but we'll do the best we can with it this way. I again apologize for the inconvenience. Okay, so where were we? Okay, we were right here. So if you see in here, if we have the multi-B and calcium as an advanced formula, 500 patients maintaining on it would be $14,000 a month in net profit. Now, if we add the 14 and the 6,000 together, that's 20,000 a month. So 500 might be a lot. Even if we have 10 patients, though, we're adding revenue. And we can always just continue to grow year by year by year. Whether we start with a small amount of patients or a large, we keep on going. Now, I'll explain also that we have two forms of income. Now, the first form of income is our profit, and that's what I just showed you a second ago. But in addition to that, every product that we have has a point value also. So this is the multi-B and calcium that we looked at a minute ago. It has 29.3 points associated to it times 500, patients maintaining is 14,000 points. That translates into an additional $26,000 a year as paid out. Now it's paid weekly as commissions are earned, but this is just additional revenue. So in short, this one product with the multi-being calcium, if 500 patients were maintaining, it would add $100,000 a year to a practice. And again, for a smaller practice, we're still adding significant revenue. Even 50 patients maintaining is $10,000. And any job is tough to get a $10,000 raise, but over year by year, it can obviously continue to increase. Now our advanced formula here, this one is the multi-being calcium with D3 and OPC. Well, depending on the number of patients maintaining on this formula, you can see the bottom line here is total revenue. If 25 patients are maintaining, it's $11,000. If 50 patients reorder monthly, there's $23,000 added. 100 patients reordering monthly, $47,000 added per year. And as it grows year by year, it works. And it does work because the patients do reorder. So taking a look at what it takes to set up, our system is super simple. We have a $159.95 covers the website and the whole subscription, and it renews once a year for $129. It just covers the IT costs here. The only other fee we have for our HP1 introductory account is our $20 a month management system, which includes a whole back office management system and everything needed to run the account and to run reports, view commissions, and do everything else. Now for our health professionals, all orders over $150 have free shipping. There's no minimums. There's case discounts on some of the products that we have cases for, and you can come and go as you wish. It's a beautiful thing, and it works very simple and very easy. Our whole focus and goal is your success. Now, after we've got everything up and running into the system, we set up the account. We help train the staff to match your needs and implement the way you want. Implement with key staff members to make sure they know how to help support the program. And then we make adjustments on an ongoing basis to make sure that each health professional meets their results. Now, as far as training, we are very committed to education for the patients, but also for our health professionals and staff. We do also have the NutriMetrix Educational Institute, which is a nonprofit institute with delivery of AMA accredited CME and CEU courses. We also have the NutriMetrix Implementation and Product Training. Both of these courses are only for health professionals to support their ongoing use. The second course here is an overview of how to help health professionals use our products in clinical practice. We also have our NutriMetrix Consultant course. Now, this course teaches individuals how to consult and how to implement wellness programs for health professionals. So we have independent consultants across the United States. In addition, we have lots of offices who send staff members to our training so that they can learn how to support the success of the program from the inside out. Very valuable in doing so because they learn so much and how to support, again, the success of the program. And that is a very quick and efficient an interesting green screen overview of NutriMetrix and our custom health solutions. I again apologize for the technical difficulties this evening. Normally that's definitely not the case, but life happens, so we're just going to keep on going with it. Now, I do have a few, I see your questions coming in, and as you know, this is live, and I will answer them all, but also I have with me a special guest to talk to you guys. Now, I asked one of our health professionals, Kasha Kynes, to join me tonight so we could talk about some of the things that she's doing. But to explain her a little bit, she's a nutritionist. She has an MS master's degree in clinical nutrition. She's CN, a certified nutritionist in the state of Washington. Also LDN licensed nutritionist. She's also an original nutritionist at Johns Hopkins Integrative Medicine and Digestive Center, and she's one of the leading and progressive functional clinical nutritionists in the state of Maryland. The majority of her practice is working with patients and referrals from doctors, and we're very lucky to have her join us tonight because she's done an amazing job with her patients and is making such a difference out there in the world. It's definitely worth hearing some of what's going on. So Kasha, I have you with me?
Yes, good evening, Lauren. Can you hear me?
I hear you just fine. Thank you for joining us tonight. So,
thank you so much for having me, and thank you for explaining the system and the company beautifully.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So as far as a nutritionist, just make sure everybody's on the same page. Can you give a description of the scope of work that you're providing to your patients as a nutritionist?
Well, like most of us nutritionists, what I do is I do because I love it, and I have lofty goals because nutrition is very powerful. So I would say in a sentence, what I do is my goal is always to change patients' lives.
Absolutely, I can completely agree with that. Now, as a nutritionist, what are the primary type of health challenges that you are dealing with your patient base?
I have a lot of very complicated patients that bring a combination of problems. I might have one patient with IBS, SIBO, yeast overgrowth, chronic constipation, and multiple food allergies, for example. A lot of Crohn's or ulcerative colitis, maybe multiple sclerosis, autoimmune conditions. So a lot of serious complaints, and then a lot of minor aches and pains and vague malaise and mystery issues. I see it all.
Well, that's quite an array of health challenges, and one thing that I've learned over my years working in this industry is that the health professionals all have different specialties and different focus in their patients, but nutrition is one thing that touches every practitioner of every specialty because all humans need good nutrition, and I'm sure you'd be one to agree with that.
Well, there's just no escape. There is a medical doctor, Dr. Hyman, who said recently if a doctor doesn't practice nutrition, the doctor is not practicing medicine. And I think that's why a lot of medical doctors are going back to training to get updated on how they can support patients more with nutrition. So we're very lucky in my field because we can make a really very big impact on patients' health, and I see it every day, and it's a beautiful feeling to be able to make a difference and see it in pretty quickly, and that's so sustainable. That's a backbone. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's certainly something that hits everybody. Now, I have heard in my years working again in this field that many nutritionists I've heard say, and dietitians also, they've expressed that nutrition comes from the food, and we know that there's challenges with that. What's your intake on that? What's your input?
It would be wonderful to live hundreds of years ago before we altered our environment. I don't think it's realistic to have 8 ounces of raw, uncooked wild salmon every day. That would be too much mercury, definitely. I mean, that's just an example. I was adamant against supplementation when I was leaving my graduate program. I trained in nutraceuticals, but I vowed not to rely on it. I vowed to do everything with nutrition, with foods, with my patients. But over the years in practice and looking at the response of the patients, how much further I could take them with foods alone, how far they were willing to eat what I wanted them to eat, and how much faster I needed them to improve, and then looking at the research behind nutraceuticals, I started to add them, and actually this is one of the few companies that I've really been working seriously with, and it has changed the way I practice my nutrition pretty much. I don't imagine practicing without my isotonic solutions, for example, without providing it for my patients.
Absolutely.
So
So can you describe, oh yeah, I'm sure. Can you describe how you're using the nutraceuticals to support your patients?
Let me see. I spend a long time with the first patient. My intake is up to 2 hours, so I get to know the patients very well. We create a timeline. We try to look for causality and connections and why things have gone where they have, trying to find causes. And at the same time, I do assess all the nutritional intake in foods. I put it through a software program. It's going to spit out all the micronutrients and macronutrients that the patients are meeting or not. So I have something on paper that I can provide for patients, and over the years consistently I see which nutrients are lacking and which are low, which are excessive. And it corresponds with the science. It's very funny. Vitamin E and magnesium, for example, come up all the time. And that's the research. That's number one and number two most deficient nutrients according to research over the years. So I have to educate my patients. And at the same time, I like to bring my isotonics from home into the office. And during the first appointments, that's very exciting to me because depending on the complaints that the patient is bringing, I like to make a little cocktail and present it to them and explain the physiology of the isotonics, explain how to use it, explain as I'm doing it. It fizzes up, it's beautiful, it smells good, it tastes good. And so the patient has an opportunity to ask questions. Then when they consume the cocktail, after about 15-20 minutes, I remind them because I expect them to work, just like Lauren said during the webinar tonight. You mentioned, Lauren, that the products deliver. And so I have high expectations. I'm used to the delivery and the reactions from patients. So I teach patients to expect, to pay attention. It's not just another supplement to spend money on. It's something to help them. And I get very interesting reactions. Patients get excited. They perk up. Maybe I give them a double of B complex, and they come to life. They're more energetic. And then for homework, they're supposed to email me and let me know how they felt throughout the evening. Did they sleep better? Is the bowel movement better in the morning next day? Whatever they notice, if there's any difference, because then I can tell them what happens and what's the mechanism behind the supplement they took. And that is priceless, because then the patients are taking charge. They're more in control. They're more empowered, and they start seeing connections. And so I like that visual and physical contact and trying it together and then following up and seeing what happens. It's always very fascinating and very rewarding.
Yeah, the follow-up's always been a big one. I've seen a lot of success from health professionals who talk to their patients when they come back for subsequent visits. And what they find is that by asking which health challenges they had before, how are you feeling, how are you doing on the product, they're getting the feedback from the patients and actually hearing much of like what you just said. So it is very exciting to see results.
It is, and it gives me a great pleasure to even be able to send a case at my cost if I need to, just to help a patient, because I know I can do that. I know I can afford it because of the compensation system behind it. So it gives me a lot more leverage than I could with other companies, for example. That's another big plus for me, for my practice.
Well, you definitely have a lot of passion to take care of your patients. And, you know, one thing I have seen, nutritionists and dietitians usually often carry multiple lines. Can you tell me what specifically about these products brought you here?
I think most of us use various lines. My practice is out of pocket. Some patients get reimbursed to a degree, some don't. Many do not, and so it's great privilege to have the trust of patients when they come, and they can even prepay a program out of pocket. So I have to be very careful when I do recommend supplements. I have to have the right dose, I have to have the right quality, and I have to know that they work. So if I offer omega-3 fish oil, I need specific amounts. And what's beautiful about NutriMetrix is that the scientific department looks for specific dosage, specific potency. So if we have a fish oil, it's as high in the potency as you can get in one capsule, and it is effective. So let me see, I got lost in your question. What was the question?
No, just, you know, what of our line brought you here?
The other, yes. But of course, the most powerful line that we have that nobody else can match is the isotonic solution. That and the OPC. I think the first product, the reason why I looked at that company was OPC3. There's multiple studies, so that's not that. But what I was hearing from people who were using OPC, I was hearing it for about a year, and then I said, that's it. If half of it is true, I have the responsibility to look at this company, look at this product, and that's how I got started. But the interesting thing is that you know, as a nutritionist, I have so many deficiencies I'm working against. I have so many gut issues I'm working with. I don't even get to OPC3. I get through allo a lot. I get through the Bs, the Ds, because they're so lacking, or the magnesium. But OPC is not even the main focus for me. But what the isotonics do, I have not seen other supplements do. So I tend to go for the isotonics as my primary choice. And if I cannot find the formulation, or if there's some food allergies and the patients for some reason cannot tolerate the isotonics, then I will look for the closest match. But it's very hard to do. For example, our calcium is just outstanding. I'm not finding anything even remotely close. And I'm not finding anything that is ionic and isotonic at the same time. And that's just, I don't know how the formulation is possible, but it is, and it's just outstanding for patients. So very unique, very fast acting. Compliance is high because it tastes good. But it's just a matter of teaching patients and checking on them and following up, making sure that they don't mix the powder and water inappropriately. There's a lot of funny stories that all of our health professionals have when patients get confused and don't do it right. So yeah, the follow-up, like Lauren, you said, is very important with this particular line. And sometimes watching patients do it in front of you as well.
Yeah, little example is a good thing for sure. Now, we also know one of the biggest issues in our country is weight loss, and I'm also passionate about our TLS weight loss program, having lost some weight myself. And as this country is not shrinking, it's obviously essential, and educating patients is a big deal. And you obviously know that's what our TLS solution does. Can you describe what you've used with our TLS program to help your patients?
Absolutely. Like everything that nutraMetrix presents to our health professionals, TLS is based on science. I know if we bring something, if something is introduced, if there's a new product or a new service, I know it's based on solid science. That's the only way we bring new things. And TLS, it's a weight loss solution, but one of my TLS coaches would correct me immediately. It's a weight it's a healthy weight support system. One of my coaches was always underweight, and this is the first program that helped her actually gain the weight, so she's not worrying about being underweight. And she's a very passionate coach as a result. I've been with TLS I've been using the nutraMetrix system for almost 5 years, and I started with TLS a number of years ago. And it's evolved dramatically as nutraMetrix is. You have to keep up with it. The TLS right now, the beauty of TLS for my practice is that I have a solo practice. I do all my bookkeeping. I do all credit card processing. I do all electronic charting and all faxes for my patients and for clinics. Everything runs through me. And so when I was teaching TLS, it was a little bit overwhelming. I have so many patients in different programs. But I was able to, this is very contagious, so some of the patients become very healthy and want to pay forward, and they get very interested in coaching, and then they train, and then they become coaches, and as a result, where I work is a naturopathic clinic with Dr. Janine Martin, and so our TLS coach, who used to be my patient and now is my dearest friend, she's like a sister to me, is the coach that I mentioned. She's the official coach in our clinic. And so in the real world, outside of the system, I would have a hard time letting go of my patients and giving away clients or patients to another coach, because I know I would be losing the revenue I so depend on. It's a difficult field to stay in, being a nutritionist, and those guests tonight who are nutritionists know very well how challenging it is. That's why there's not so many of us. But in the system, I know my coach is compensated well, takes a very good care of my patients, but at the same time, the system that is created compensates my coach and me equally for her work. So I know I'm supporting her, but it's not competition. We will always support each other financially. So this is a detail that was not explained very much in the presentation, because that wasn't the night tonight, but that I work with a lot of health professionals, and knowing that we're not in competition anymore, that we actually financially supporting each other from now on makes a big difference in the energy, in how we can share patients. The synergy is beautiful. I can't say enough about that.
Yeah, definitely supporting patients with synergistic care among multiple specialties is a very powerful thing. Now, another aspect of what we do that I'm also passionate about is our GeneSNP DNA analysis. It's one of my personal favorites. Can you describe how you've used that analysis to support your patients?
It's my absolutely most favorite. If I could, I was just telling Lauren before the webinar, if I could, I would screen all my patients, and I know that the prices are always going down, and I know it's going to be more and more affordable, and it is in this country as the technology is improving, and we need that. GeneSNP, it's basically, it's like your GPS. It tells you where you have to turn. You have a choice. So for example, now I understand why I stole money for candy when I was 6 years old from my father. I remember one incident, hopefully it was the last one, the only one. But I have many gene SNPs for sugar metabolism. Many of them are not positive. And if I was eating indiscriminately, if I didn't learn, I'm 47 right now, I would probably be diabetic or pre-diabetic, but I never will. It's the information that is priceless. I have patients who could not tolerate smoke and didn't understand it and would get sick in front of the fireplace, but they didn't understand the ramification, and there's a gene for that, or the infamous gene for folate. If you cannot methylate folate, you will have to supplement for the rest of your life, or you might develop depression that is resistant to medication. And if you don't supplement that, the medications will not be able to help efficiently. So it's very, very tremendously relevant. I tend to use it when patient has an extra budget, or when we're not responding, when there's something still stewing, when we're not getting the results we expect, or also if the patient is not really believing that, let's say, the inflammation may be behind it. I had a patient who was doubting. He had a lot of problems, but once he saw how much inflammation was in his genes, he got on it right away. He was much more compliant. He got better results. He was able to lose weight. And so that I actually provide, one of my programs includes the cost of the gene SNP, so I can entice my patients. If they pay for this particular program, we're going to run that. And I love to offer that, and I would love to offer more education to my patients about it, because I think the patients have fear about it. They don't understand what it is. But for the dietitians and nutritionists listening, I just wanted to say that even American Dietetic Association stands behind genetic testing, and the long-term goal, my understanding is that the dietitians should be the preferred professional specializing in it, providing the expertise on it. So we're right in the right spot to learn about it and to utilize it.
Absolutely. That makes a whole lot of sense, and being able to put science behind the nutrition, I think, is something that our medical economy is very much ready for. So another key to successful implementation is knowing how to implement, and as you know, we have our NutriMetrix consultants that we train to help support our health professionals. Can you describe how it has helped you to have a consultant assist with your implementation and support?
The consultant is, my consultant changed my life. My consultant had no idea how little money I was making, how I had a teaching job on the side just to continue having my practice open. And I have to say that the nutraMetrix attracts very positive, driven visionaries who believe in wellness and believe in helping others. And so that passion really translates, and it was the same with my consultant. And she became a family member. She's like a sister to my family. And I noticed that other consultants too, when they bring the wellness to the medical practice, they become very close to the whole staff group, to the doctor. And they are very instrumental in the energy of the clinic and how the profit and the education are implemented. it's again, it's the same energy, understanding, trust, and respect. I do not rely on my consultant anymore because I have a small practice. I don't have staff, and so she trained me, and I kind of stopped delegating things to her. I stopped emailing her with questions. Eventually, I learned, so I can manage my practice. But I also trained as a consultant to support other clinicians and to help them and to impact more patients, just because it's so engaging and so contagious. So that's how it goes.
Yeah, and I know you work with other health professionals, doctors who refer patients with you, so that all works together and you being able to help them with their own nutrition support for their patients. That's wonderful.
That is, and I never thought about that before. I have a lot of doctors that refer to me, and now I like to come and thank them, and also right now I'm learning to ask them more if they're looking, if their patients are happy, do they need any support in their practices? Because even my husband left his corporate career and he's become a nutraMetrix consultant. He's helping our health professionals stand on their feet and educate the patients, and they love him. So it's just a beautiful contagious process. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful thing when you're able to really make the impact that you got into healthcare for and really change the lives that you want to change. And I know you have a great passion for helping people. What's your vision for the future of your practice as you continue to grow?
Let's see. As my favorite TLS coach would say, we have an army of TLS coaches impacting a lot of people, teaching them how to eat. I have a beautiful practice when I can see patients maybe once a week, so I can have vacations. I have time to have cooking classes for patients, for example. Maybe I can become a chef, and because I would love to bring food more to the table and teach about foods. But when you're a clinician, we're not in a position where we're married to our practice. We love it, but we don't have a life. And I think that's common for any specialty, even in medicine. And I know the vision would be that maybe I would be able to even offer my services for free to patients that cannot pay, because I would be compensated through the system, so I could relax a little bit. So there's a lot of things that I would do and I will do in future, definitely.
Well, it's wonderful to have a pathway to be able to do the things that we love. And one thing I always know is that everybody who gets the results always tells somebody else that they care about. So it's amazing how wellness really is growing. And I definitely see the changes going on in our community, because even in the grocery stores, the food options are changing. We're seeing organic, we're seeing gluten-free, and we're seeing a lot more visibility in those natural things. Now, you guys know that this is, again, live. If you have any questions for Kasia, you're welcome to post them. And I'm going to go through a couple of the other questions, and she and I will work together to answer your questions as we have them. Give me just 1 second here. Oh, be on. Okay, 1 moment. All right, then. I see a couple of questions that came in, so looking forward to find these. How do you define a health professional? We have a list of approved health professionals who have a patient base and have credentials to see those patients for different needs. For specific lists to see who qualifies as a health professional, we can certainly provide that. And any health professionals who are qualified are on there. Anybody else can submit a case-by-case approval request to see if they fit as a health professional. Next question, how does a health professional get the practice label on the custom blend? The practice label. Now, for example, our label comes on it, and when you order a custom formula, the title of the product is given whatever you want. So if it's Mrs. Jones Wellness Formula, that's what's on it. If it's Smith Optimal Blood Sugar Support, then that's what's on it. Now, if the health professional also wants to add their own sticker to the lid or something so patients can go online and reorder, they can obviously do that too, but we deliver it with the health professional's title on the label. And I see another question. It says, what's the size of your average performing practice in revenue? That is a really, really good question. And I will say that success is relative to each practitioner. We have health professionals who move giant numbers their first year. We have some who take years to build. We have practitioners who do very, very little because we have no minimums and they just want access to stuff when they need it. And we have health professionals who move hundreds of thousands a year. So there's a full spectrum, and what we do with all of our health professionals is come up with a reasonable proposal based on their unique practice numbers, and then we help design the activity to meet the needs and goals of the health professional. Okay, looking through for additional questions. Okay, one moment while I read. Okay, here's a question, Kasha, if you're able to hear. I know you were having an audio challenge. For nutritionists who insist that supplements are not necessary, what kind of proof would you offer to help them understand the need for additional support in nutrition?
Very simple answers depending on where the patient is and what the patient has to hear. A very simple example is alteration of the nutrient composition in the soil, and the fact that if you want vitamin C equivalent of an apple 50 years ago, you might need to eat 4 apples right now. We are overfed but malnourished, and you can go and find studies. There's a lot of studies that are telling us now the percentage of nutrients lost, and a big difference when you compare it between organics and non-organics. We can't meet the needs, unfortunately. It's just not happening anymore.
Yeah, the soils I think I've seen have been depleted in the United States since the 1940s, showing up in our documents, and obviously if the soils aren't replenished with nutrients, then they're not getting into our bodies either. Mm-hmm. So makes a whole lot of sense. Mm-hmm. I see another question that says, how do you become a NutriMetrix consultant? I can answer that one quickly. We have a course that you attend. It's a 3-day course that teaches everything from beginning to end for becoming a consultant, and we have ongoing continuing education every single Monday night to help our consultants succeed, and we have all kinds of support that we provide throughout the week to help them continue their growth as a consultant. And we will have 5 courses booked next year. We're in the process of finalizing those locations. We have completed our courses for this year, and our courses for next year will be loaded up as soon as we confirm the locations. The dates for those will be available online. You'll be able to find them by going to nutrimetrix.com and click on events. Right now you won't see them because they're not on there yet, but as soon as the courses are available, click on the events tab on nutrimetrix.com and you'll find them, and talk to the person who shared this with you, and they can certainly let you know when the courses are released. Okay, so any additional questions? If you have any others, go ahead and post them out. Meanwhile, Kasha, I want to thank you for joining us. I think it's very powerful for people to be able to hear from health professionals who are practicing with patients such as yourself and hear about the type of results that are happening and really what's changing in the medical economy, but also the wellness economy of patient health care, and how much patients do need the nutritional support. Do you have any additional comments that you would like to add in closing?
Keep it up, don't stop. I want to thank everyone tonight for being online with us, and it's very late and you're asking questions. It means that you care about others, you want to make a difference, and it's a beautiful organization. I have health professionals from different parts of the country that are my best friends. Hello, good evening. I have NutriMetrix consultants from different states that I befriend that are fantastic. We're friends, we support each other. So it's a beautiful community. You grow together. It's a good place to investigate. And whatever you do, keep keep going towards wellness. And thank you for being with us tonight. And Lauren, thank you for having me tonight as well. I really appreciate sharing it.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's very valuable to all of us to hear such wonderful information that you have, and you have just such wonderful eloquence in explaining what you do, and the passion that you have for your patient care is absolutely phenomenal, and it's my gift and blessing to be able to work with health professionals such as yourself. So thank you so much for helping out tonight.
Thank you. I'm lucky to be able to do what I do. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Fantastic. And I will thank all of you for joining us this evening, and we'll look forward to seeing you online and at future trainings and much more. Thank you again. Oops, I see one quick question I'll add on. If a practice is really busy, how would this be implemented? The staff is not educated. We actually help. We have a whole staff training system. Another quick question. I see some people say they believe in exercise and healthy eating and only eat organic, and they do not believe in supplements. How would we answer? Kasha, do you want to take that?
Let me unmute myself. This is very interesting because I get this all the time. I have a lot of very educated patients, and they say, I do very well. I exercise, I eat great. Fantastic. Let's put your food logs through the software program. Let's see how the foods show in terms of macronutrients and micronutrients. There's always surprises, always surprises. There's also testing you can do like SpectraCell. It's a fabulous lab that measures the saturation of micronutrients, vitamins, minerals inside your cell. It's much better than the blood test of today's status. It's a longer status of your cellular saturation. And so you might be surprised if you test that, if you have that available. You might want to test yourself and see how you do. But also there's certain things that we do not meet in foods. Vitamin D is not in foods. Vitamin D really has to be supplemented from my clinical perspective, from what I see and from research. The same with omega-3. It's just not possible to get enough. You know, we don't fish anymore. We don't live by the streams, and they're too polluted. It's not safe to eat so much fish. So there are certain nutrients that are very difficult to get in the diet the way we live. So I would challenge a person to just dig a little bit deeper, get tested, find a food log that they can put in a program that will spit out where they are, just even compared to RDAs, whether they at least meet that. It's very surprising to a lot of my patients who are well to see where they fit into it, and it surprises me as well. So that's probably where I would go.
Yeah, definitely is a different food situation that we have in this country at this point. All right, now I think that's it for the questions. So again, I will wish all of you a wonderful evening, and thank you for joining us. Appreciate all of you guys sticking through technical difficulties, and we will look forward to talking to you really soon. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Kasha.
Thank you so much. Good night.
All right, good night all.